crafty friends, Kim from StampingImperfection.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a card I want to share that I'm making for the design team I'm on with Atlantic Hearts Sketch Challenge, and these are usually sketch challenges. So today it's another sketch. I'm starting with a card base in white, cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored that at 4.25. I've got a piece of craft cardstock cut at 4 by 5.25, so I left a little bit of white peeking around. And I decided that I really want to use one of my two very favorite Sunny Studios stamp sets. And I've had these for a while. The one on the right I think I've had since like 2017. These are very loved. I don't use them just in the fall, I use them all year long. And I have this little 6 by 6 inch Photoplay paper, which I really have been enjoying this little paper pad. Now, this started out to be 24 sheets, and you can see I've used quite a bit of this. I liked this. This was called Gnome for the Holidays, and it's the Thanksgiving one. And I liked this. It had some cut-aparts in it, which you can see I used on a card I had on my blog toward the end of October. And I just love the papers in this package. They're just so colorful and happy. And isn't this plaid amazing? So what I'm going to do is, this calls for like a pennant, which I'm going to use that plaid for, and I've pulled out my 2-inch circle punch because the sentiment is supposed to go on the 2-inch punch, or on a 2-inch circle, or on a circle, it doesn't matter what size it is really, on top of the pennant. So I'm just cutting this down. It's about half, I think it's 1.5, it might be 2.5 actually. 2.5 inches by 4 inches or so, and I really like the paper, so I'm making a generous pennant there because I love the colors in this paper. So the sketch calls for the sentiment to be inside a circle, and I'm actually going to follow this sentiment pretty close, or this card sketch pretty closely. A lot of times I just kind of rearrange things, or I do things that make it more my own. This time I really like the sketch and I love the elements. She used leaves and acorns, so you can see that's exactly what I'm going to do, because this called to me with my favorite stamp, one of my favorite stamp sets, and this Photoplay paper, which I'm just working my way through. I bought that in I don't know, August or September from Seven Kids Craft Store, and I have really been enjoying it. So I stamped that sentiment, Grateful for You, in black ink on white cardstock. Now I'm just going to flip that over. And by the way, this stamp set is called Autumn Splendor, and the other little one is Beautiful Autumn. And I didn't end up using the other little one on this particular card. So I'm just pulling out 3 of the leaves. This is actually a layered stamp set. I'm just going to do the bottom layer, and I'm pulling out the bottom of the acorn. Now this has coordinating dies, but the dies actually take into account all the parts layered together, and there are 2 ways to do this. One way is to take those dies and make a template and then fit your stamps inside them as you stamp them, which is a really good way to do it. The other way is to stamp them first, like I'm going to do today, and then just stamp the second layer right on top. That's what I'm going to do today, just because it's easier. I'm just feeling a little lazy today, and some days, you take the lazy way out. So I'm using some Catherine Pooler inks here. I've used the green is the eucalyptus, the yellow is sauna, and the orange is mandarin spice, and then of course the brown color is icing on the cake. This is one of my favorite color combinations for fall, and I'm just using a dauber there because I accidentally overlapped some green, and I didn't want to see a line, so I just kind of dabbed out the line. It's perfectly fine to have green on a yellow leaf in the fall, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So I need 4 leaves and 2 acorns for this, and I'm pretty much using this sketch exactly. And like I said, I rarely do this, but today I'm going to. So here, I accidentally put the stamp for the leaf upside down, and I was going to wipe it off and start over, but then I realized I'm going to die cut that. That's going to work out just fine. I don't need to redo that. And so I didn't. And one of the things, like when I bought this, I bought the coordinating die set. And again, this was in 2017. And I rarely buy coordinating die sets anymore because I have my brother scan and cut. And it's saving me a huge amount of money because these coordinating dies are expensive nowadays. And you can see, like, I'm going to pull those dies out. I've had this since 2017. I use this stamp set all the time. And it's probably one of my most used stamp sets, these two autumn ones from Sunny Studios. And I have never used the dies, which is crazy because leaf dies are, you can use those without a stamp and they are useful. So I was surprised when I realized I had not used them. So I'm just going to die cut these out and then I will stamp the second layer. So I've got these all die cut. Now I can do the second layer. And actually the acorn has 3 layers. So I've pulled out 2 more of Catherine Pooler's brown colors. One is it just called sand? One is sand and the other one is, no, it's Sand Castle, and the other one is Over Coffee. And I'm going to use the icing on the cake to actually take it's basically I'm putting in the stem and the stem parts of the leaf at this point. So I'm using the icing on the cake, which is her darkest brown. And I'm going to use the same stamp for both of those leaves because it works for both of them. And then I'll do the third one. That's the one that I stamped on the wrong side. Never done that before. Literally, I've never done that before. And I wasn't paying enough attention. But it's going to turn out okay. I'll tuck that underneath the other one and it will be just fine. Then I pull off the one for the maple leaf, the second stamp for the maple leaf. And now I can go ahead and finish those acorns. And so this is an easy way to do it. Things don't come out perfect all the time when I do it like this. So usually I create a template. I just die cut the die out of white paper, and then I take the part that the piece was cut out of and use it as a template to fit the stamps inside. So I used the sandcastle for the bottom layer of the top of the acorn, and then I used the Over Coffee, which is slightly darker than the sandcastle, for that top little hatched piece. And I really like this set. Sometimes you just want to stamp things. You don't want to spend a lot of time watercoloring or Copic coloring or doing any fancy techniques. Sometimes you just want to make a nice, quick, and easy card the old-fashioned way, and that's exactly how I felt today. So I was excited to see this particular card sketch, and I'm just putting some double-sided tape on the pieces that need to be layered together. I'm not using a lot of foam. Lately I haven't felt like putting things on a lot of foam for some reason. I don't know why. It's easier to mail them when they're not all layered up like that. And I'm mailing more of them rather than giving them in person. So I'm not putting too much as far as embellishments or, elevating the layers too much. So I'm just keeping that in mind. I feel like the post office probably has enough to do without me adding extra stuff to all my cards and making their job harder. So I'm using my 2-inch circle punch. When was the last time you used your circle punches or your punches in general? So I'm going to put that down on the center, and I'm just going to use regular adhesive for that. No foam or anything. I will put some foam on the little pieces. I'm actually using a tape runner. and putting that in the center. And then I'm just going to put one foam dot on the back of each of these pieces. I'm going to actually tuck them under that circle. And I'm going to put two of the leaves in the top left corner and two in the bottom right corner and one acorn on each. It's exactly what the sketch calls for. And that is actually as simple as it's gonna get. I like the way this card came out. I love how Catherine Pooler's colors go so perfectly with this plaid paper from Photoplay. It's like Photoplay had her inks in mind when they designed it. So this bottom one, I'm tucking the leaves are putting the leaves on top of my sentiment, and I love that sentiment. Who wouldn't like to receive that sentiment? I'm just trimming this off because I didn't actually center it very well when I die cut it. And I'll add a couple of little very old embellishments, like bread tops or something. I forget what they're called. That's how old they are. I'm just going to add a couple little yellow embellishments to this because there's a little bit of yellow and I'd like to bring out a little bit more yellow. So I'll put a few of these down and that will complete my card. So please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. That really helps me out a lot. And make sure you subscribe to my channel while you're here. Click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. And make sure you stop by my blog at StampingImperfection.com to sign up for my newsletter and to see all the details about my other projects lately. So thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.